massage you with my magic fingers. People are talking.
Let's go. Let's go indeed, because people are talking.
People are talking.
People are talking. All right.
People
Anyway,
are talking.
Yes, that's right, Trip. Good evening. It's Monday, which means it's time for Enterprise at 8 or Star Trek Enterprise at 8, depending on who you are. Anyway, this is Live Long and Podcast Star Trek Enterprise rewatch series. It's been about 20 years.
20 years?
That's right, Trip. 20 years since tonight's episode. Rajiin. Did I say that right? Regine first aired, but we're just getting started here at Enterprise at 8. I'm Jody Simpson, and with me is a special guest host tonight, the man who is best known as everyone's cousin, and also for a little thing called the co-host of Liqueurs of Trek, Davan Skelhorn.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here, Jody. I've heard you can be quite accommodating.
I give it.
No, but in all seriousness, it's an honor to be playing Adam tonight after a long understudy apprenticeship. I think I'm ready.
You know what? He's
been
an
a long
intricate
time.
character. I don't know, but we'll see. I guess.
So I think you should probably refer to me as Adam.
We're gonna just go as Adam understudy. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, and of course tonight joining us is also some awesome guests, such as Live Long and Podcast awesome producer and the man who can now pursue the bioweapon because he has enough information about the humans, Dave Mater.
That's right. I'm here to massage you with my magic fingers.
All right. Well, Davan, I think Adam is the person who's going to probably want that first. Anyway, and of course, guys, who can forget the man who fully believes that Earth spices are worth way more than Captain Archer, Kevin Millard.
Actually, I'm like an Archer. I'm like an angry Archer.
Angry Archer is kind of fun, though. I will give you that. Anyway, tonight's episode, as I said, is Regine. Damn it. I'm never going to get this right. Anyway, this is the 55th episode of the series. And this episode is about Enterprise takes on board Regine. Did I say it that time? Regine?
Yeah. Yes, I think so.
A beautiful agnomatic. Really? I put that in there? Okay, anyway. Passenger with ulterior motives, actually. It should say that.
When she says her name here.
I'm Rajiin.
Yeah,
Regine. There you go.
I'm Regine.
Anyway, what do we think of this, guys? Better than last week's, right?
Better than last week.
which isn't, let's put it this way, that is some fucking low hanging fruit right there.
We're transformed into a different species. Don't expect to recover overnight.
I do like the fact that Archer still has like herpes from when he was a different species. He's got like space herpes.
Yeah, but we didn't see that on Reed or Hoshi.
No, just on Archer
or T'Pol for that matter. But
yeah. I was also impressed in the fact that Mayweather has like 3 lines in this episode. I thought that was pretty impressive. All 3 lines.
Yeah,
or like 2 of them were yes, Captain.
I think that guy in the turbo lift, that security guard in the turbo lift, had
more lines than Mayweather.
Yeah, like that she seduces. So whatever.
I'm not totally sure how to respond to this, Jody. Why do you hate me? Did I say that I hated him?
I think on Trivial Debates yesterday there was some accusations that you.
I wasn't on Trivial Debates.
I know, but there were people saying you hated Sam.
People are talking.
People are talking. People are talking.
People are talking.
People are talking, though. That's true, for sure.
Where is Adam is the other question here.
He's right there.
Adam. He's right there.
He's here. He's right there.
He's literally right there.
In all the ways that matter, he's right here.
Yes, he's grown a bit of a beard. He's been traveling a lot. And for some strange reason, he's wearing a comforter. But past that, that's Adam.
That's just Nova Scotia flannel styles, So
this is what happens to Adam as soon as he touches down. I mean, myself. In Nova Scotia.
Just insta beard.
Yeah.
Only happens in the winter, though. In the summer, you guys don't do that, right?
I do.
All right. Anyway, let's get into this episode.
Yeah,
guys.
let's get into this episode. Okay, the first thing I liked about it is that we're back to this Xindi Council of Doom, which was completely skipped over because I feel like a big criticism of mine last week was that it just wasn't moving this storyline.
It was
along.
a filler episode for sure.
Yeah, it was just like this detour to get turned into a bunch of random aliens, but the Xindi tie-in with that story was very contrived and forced. And so, okay, we're back to the Council of Doom here with all the Xindi legions.
I also like the fact that they're separated on things, which is nice. Like they're not all like, let's all go kill everybody.
Yeah,
half of them are like, no, this is a bad idea. Don't.
We're starting to get a sense of their characteristic personalities, I guess, to their species.
Yes, because their species are all distinctly different on how they act, right?
Right.
Like the bugs are the insectoid guys are all like, let's just kill everything.
Right. And so the reptilians are kind of like that too.
They're close to it, yeah.
They're closer to the insectoids, whereas the humans and the arboreals are kind of the same temperament, and these aquatics are kind of a whole other thing.
They're more like the wise men.
Yeah, they're like
they're like,
they're
we'll
like
do it if we have to, but let's do other things first.
They're at least impulsive, it seems like, and they're not quick to anger, it seems. But who knows? They're talking.
Tension will solve nothing, though. That is true.
Yeah, they're kind of like I guess they're the unifiers. They're the ones kind of bringing these other four species.
I love the idea of the Xindi, though. I really like the idea of having all these like races within the race, right? Like it's all like just, obviously, as human beings, we all have various areas we've all come from, but we're very closely resembling each other, where these guys are completely all over the place.
Right. Well, just to look at a big, huge bug sitting at the table, like even in Star Trek, this is a little out there, but this is the first time they could do it.
It's out there, but I think it's also pretty cool. Like
it's cool, but it's
like imagine if they tried to do these bugs in like the original series, what they would have looked like. Like they would
just been puppets. They would just been puppets. Yeah.
And they would have had like football helmets on with like
they would have looked like the Gorn.
Yeah, they would look like the Gorn.
I don't think the Gorn looked that bad for 60s.
No, actually, the Gorn didn't look too dissimilar from these guys right here.
Yeah, true.
The reptilians, of course, have the most intricate makeup of all these Xindis, the practical ones at least. And then you have what are they called? These ones, Davan?
These are like the primate ones, right?
Xindi primates, yeah. So all the Xindi have like this weird little like thing on their face, like this indentation here.
Yeah, that's about the only thing they really have in
That's
common.
the only thing that would tell you that they're from the same planet or anything, like here it is on the
arboreals there.
Yeah, that's an arboreal, not a marsupial, as I mistakenly called him once.
Yes, do not call him.
And even on the aquatics, you can kind of see this like thing on their face on the sides. The insectoids, it's much harder to kind of see, I find. But anyway, so they're talking about all their options. They're talking about Enterprise going through their space and all these things, and that they have to kind of stop them. Why they just don't blow up Enterprise makes no sense to me. It doesn't. If they're really on a mission to destroy Earth, killing with one ship should not be questionable or amoral for them.
Well, and that kind of gives you the impression that the Xindi really don't know what the hell they're doing, right? Like they don't really know what they've gotten themselves into, and they're actually more worried than they need to be, right? Like it's almost like they think we're like a bigger threat than we actually
are. They think that we're going to destroy their planet. Okay, fine. But if they think that, then shouldn't they have no qualms with blowing up Enterprise?
You'd think that.
They're just always delayed and distracted by their own internal dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it takes them forever to get anything done. Like if they go off and just do something, as happens in this episode, you just they're like, whoa, insubordination. You did that without the will of the council. It's just like, well,
yeah. The one thing I do like about this episode is it shows us a lot of things outside of the norm, right? Like obviously this part we don't, this is pretty norm for this nowadays. But like the whole market scenes, which we'll see later, even some of the weapons that are used by the Xindi later on are really cool. I think anyway. But
yeah, but let's
all downhill with T'Pol for here.
Do we need to really spend a lot of time talking about this part?
Seasons, but
it's more T'Pol in her sexy pajamas again, doing this neuro.
Well, this is the whole lead up to the fact that Trip is going to end up falling in love with her and blah blah blah, right?
Right.
Spoilers.
Did they, I guess so? Fine. You're trying to set up this romance between these two characters, like they did with Tom and B'Elanna, like they did with Jedzir and Worf.
I think the B'Elanna Tom thing is just equally annoying, though. Like it's just as bad.
Right?
No way. That one works way better.
Oh, I think neither one of them work well.
Why doesn't it work for you, Davan? This relationship.
I just find it's not that the relationship doesn't work. I don't have anything against those two characters getting together because that almost makes sense because they used to antagonize each other in the early episodes and things. There was always a bit of a relationship there. It's just all their scenes together are really boring, and there's a lot of them.
Sam doesn't want me to hate
their
him.
relationship.
Sorry, Sam doesn't want me to hate him, but then he says I look like a Xindi.
I think which Xindi?
Oh yeah, you have nothing to feel bad about, Jody. He trash talks you all the time.
Apparently, yeah. Anyway, that's fine.
Right, but this whole scene was about how Trip is talking about people are starting to talk. I shouldn't come here anymore. And we're barely clothed, and we're touching each other all night with candles, and it's apparently purely platonic, which it definitely doesn't feel platonic on either.
It's starting to get to the point where it's not. Yeah, like
and in this you can see that he's making excuses.
Yeah,
because of him, not because of what people are saying.
Well, and she even mentions the fact that, like, oh, well, if they wanted to think we're in a relationship, blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, obviously she's going somewhere.
Well, she's like, we're the senior officers. Unless the captain's got a problem with it, they can go to hell.
I love the line. I love the line when she's that exact one where she says, "We're both senior officers, so it's none of Reed's business."
Yeah. Yeah. If you're worried about Reed, don't. Yeah, and I agree with her on this. Yeah, and I think she fancies Trip just as much. Whether it's subconscious or not. Like I feel like this is definitely getting set up. I don't need her in the sexy pajamas. I think it's too far. I feel like
this was also on UPN in the early 2000s, so this totally makes sense.
Right. It's a little exploitive, but fine.
I think it's fine.
Well, she's not hard to look at in it. It doesn't really track. That's all.
I'm with you, Dave.
But look at like even Strange New Worlds has like kind of outfits that are a little pushing the line. Like,
well, I like
even look at what's her name, Spock's soon-to-be wife or whatever. Look at the outfit she was wearing in Strange New Worlds.
With a little bit of sexiness and whatever.
Would you would dare to tell T'Pol to be more modest?
Yeah,
how dare you? How dare you?
It's just not consistent with her character. Okay, that's all.
I'm getting close to cutting off your mic, Dave.
All right, here, let's go. Let's move through the rest of the scene.
Oh, quick!
Porthos is back.
Good old Porthos.
Yeah,
Porthos
very brief.
Okay, now was I the only one who thought maybe Archer was doing things he shouldn't have been doing during this scene? Because some of the moans that were coming out of him were a little off.
Yeah, he's tossing and turning in bed. All I could think about how big his bed was compared to some of those other bunks we've seen. I was like, the captain's quarters are fairly luxurious, And then he's got the herpes coming up.
He's got the space herpes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are some pretty gross looking space herpes, though.
Yeah, he's got it like on his the coal sore or almost here or something, and that he basically just scratched it off. But I liked how it looked all red, and then he goes sees flocks here. And
I like how he's like,
I knew about these space herpes, Doc.
Well, I like how he's like, well, have you been using the ointment? He's like, no, it smells.
Yeah,
it's like,
well, stop itching it, stop scratching. It's not going to heal. It's like if you have chickenpox or something, I guess.
Yeah,
right.
But he's like, it really smells bad. Like that's his only excuse for not using it.
Yeah,
even when should have been like, to be honest, Captain, your space herpes smell bad.
Yeah. You know what's gonna smell bad? Your space herpes if they keep going.
Yeah. But he takes out the ointment. Like I love how Bakula reacts to it too. It's just like it's well done, and how he's just like, and
Bakula. You know what though? I have to kind of go back to what Kevin said because in a way he is actually kind of growing better into the role now.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you compare him now to like season 1 Archer isn't total douchebag.
Well, he's
like,
he's such a child,
an idiot,
especially with the Vulcans. He comes
and now he's like, it's almost like he's growing up in front of us, even though at this point,
he's a great character.
Archer has a purpose.
He's got a purpose. He's got this mission. He's got the weight of the world on his shoulders, almost literally, you know. And...
Can you get the clap in space if there's no sound? Brilliant.
Well
I like
played,
that one.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Well played.
I liked this sequence here and the next shot where we see the shuttle pod go down to the planet.
Very cool.
Just a different angle. It's not the same, you know, and get to see it come out. And then they go to this like water world place where all these barges are kind of netted together. This was kind of neat.
Yeah, it was different.
Different kind of a planet. And yeah, of course they got their away team jackets on, which you know,
I like the idea of away team jackets though.
Yeah, they're fine, especially when you're wearing a onesie overalls thing. That's not it just doesn't hurt. So we see this wet market basically where you know, all kinds of things, and you know, Phlox would have a good time here, I think Trip comments. And we also see, like, you know, Archer is like just looking for this chemist guy to help him get a formula for Trillium D. That was kind of the plan here, because
look at that makeup though. I'm always impressed with the makeup in this series.
Yeah, this was a good.
It was such a good job.
Yeah. I don't recognize your species, and he wants to show his wildlife. Their flesh is so succulent, I think he says.
Yeah.
And Archer doesn't want to have any of it.
Archer's like, I ain't eating no space cats.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, just tell me where the chemist is. Tell me where this barge is.
Where is this chemist?
This is the good part of this episode. Like the Xindi stuff tying into that storyline and this. Because it's like, how do you just go into an expanse and track down this enemy even though you don't know anywhere?
Well, that's what this entire season is, basically, is them trying to figure out what
the answer is you look.
Yeah, you have to look around.
Every random place they find and like, hey, do you know any Xindi? Like, I like that though. They're making it realistic in like how they find them.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Xindi know that they're kind of tracking them, and we find out that this is all kind of a plot by the Xindi reptilians specifically to kind of...
Well, we don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet, but in retrospect, we do.
Way to ruin it, Dave.
Yeah, because like this chemist guy, who I thought was a very good character. I thought he was interesting.
I like the fact that he smells with like the upper part of his
upper
nose.
noses and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
He clearly has nostrils on the bottom, but he uses the ones on the top. I like that. But mind you, the ones at the bottom look like they've seen better days.
Yeah, well, it all looks a little red.
Maybe that's like the coke hole, and this is like the smell hole.
But he apparently, like, they've met this guy before.
What do you think you're doing, Simpson?
Yeah. And they want to barter, but he also wants to find out. He's like, hey, there was some Xindi here, and you want to know about the Xindi. It's like, well, so he leaves Tucker Trip
that
here.
That guy looks so familiar too.
I know. I wonder who plays him.
I'll look that up.
Yeah, so he leaves Trip to negotiate, and we get our first shot here of Regine. You know, as she's here at this like.
There is a lot of eye candy in this episode.
Human trafficking scenario, or not humans, I guess, alien trafficking.
Major Tate's house.
Yeah. We get the space pimp here.
I love this space pimp, man. He's awesome.
There's some interesting.
I love it. I just love the look of him.
Yeah.
He's got this massive ass head that looks like a big scrotum.
Yeah.
Great.
But
it's
I
almost
guess
like a board.
Yeah, it's an interesting makeup. I don't know if we've ever seen that makeup or species before.
He's got like a scrotum on his like chin, and then he's got another one on his head.
These are the scrotum people, you know. So it's what they're known for. And he's trying to like pair off here, but this is all a ruse. We find out later that this guy was basically hired by those Xindi reptilians to go, but they make it seem like he wants to talk to them about the Xindi. The Xindi bought a couple ladies from him or something, and but he's not willing to divulge that information to Archer.
I like the fact that all of them have this like weird tattoo thing in different places. I'm guessing that's how like they mark who owns who.
Yeah, that's who the slaves are.
Yeah, because they're all different species, so there wouldn't be any reason. Oh boy, that is an interesting outfit. But like one's got one here, one's got one like across like her belly button, and I'm wondering if that's like how they like mark them or something.
Yeah, I think you're right. I was kind of trying to figure out Regine's markings, but yeah, that's completely. I didn't really look at the other girls enough.
Yeah, well, they all have it. They just have them in different places. So.
Yeah, hers are across her chest here, and she also has this tag on her arm. I guess you see that too.
And I didn't know where the episode gets terrible.
What do you mean?
This is
I
where it
disagree.
becomes another one of what I call like the porcelain doll episodes, where they just introduce this female character that everyone just gets infatuated with or is supposed to. Like Vampike Jansen played a character like that in
Perfect
an
Mate.
episode like that,
Perfect
and
Mate,
that was
yeah.
terrible.
I didn't like that
There
episode
was
either.
That was a bad episode.
There was the one where the porcelain doll has a crush on Wesley, and she has like that shapeshifter bodyguard, and that
Yeah.
episode's terrible.
That's
There's
better
a million
than
of episodes like that that I feel like are just written.
I
by,
think
like,
this
weird-
episode's better than both of those that you just mentioned, though.
No,
I like
they're
when
just,
that old lady
weird
fights
personal
Worf in that
fantasies written by lonely writers, and they're bad episodes. And this is another one of them.
Well, they can't all be amazing.
I don't totally
Well,
disagree
the
with you,
Muse
Davan, but
in DS9, there's another one. That's another.
Yes,
The
there's
Muse,
one.
which is a terrible
Muse,
episode.
yeah.
I think
They're all bad, and this is
of
another one.
this class of episode, this is maybe one of the best.
I think we
versions.
need Adam back. He's more
Because of the
positive.
Xindi stuff.
because it ties
The
into the
Xindi
Xindi,
stuff's good.
whatever. But yeah, like it's like this perfect mate, whatever. I guess is the only thing I can come up with, And we see she escapes here, or it's all.
I also
ruse.
disagree with you, Jody. I play the perfect Adam. Like I am spot on here with what Adam would say.
Actually, Davan is our porcelain doll.
It's not our job to tell you what that is, Sam. Maybe do a Google search.
Yeah.
Be careful though. That's all I can say.
It's like a SCOTUS. Look up SCOTUS.
That's Supreme Court. Yeah.
All I can tell you is, Sam, most likely you have one.
This whole like fight sequence here between Archer and the space pimp was boring, I thought. Not
That's kind of dumb.
not a great fight.
There's better fights in this episode.
There's better fights in Star Trek in general than this. And I don't know, like Reed does really nothing. It's all
It very much reminded me of an original series fight.
Yes, exactly.
but like
That's
the
what
original
I was
series
gonna
fights
say.
would last for like 10 minutes, and they would always be like,
Yeah,
These
but they weren't
comebacks.
good. It was all made by the music.
right. So there was no music. Maybe I need that. I need like the sound effects or the music to like correspond with the punches or something. Anyway, so they fly up to the ship. Phlox checks her out and comments on her eyes being so different, or her cornea structure being so different. Which kind of ties into the fact that she's like this ultimate like controller manipulator, and is also able to do biometric scans by touching you. I guess is her other ability
she can touch you and gather information on you.
on your physiology. Like,
Yeah.
it's,
Well, you actually saw her when she touched people. Like she like X-rays them and everything.
Yeah,
I
I was like, well, how does this work? And I was like, this is better than like a tricorder? Like, I just was confused by it. but-
Well, we have basic tricorders in this time frame.
Even
but-
how she like takes her powers at the end and she puts that into like the hologram for the Xindi at
Look
the
at
end.
her outfit. Where is she going to hide a tricorder?
exactly.
That's not the point.
Mind you, I'm kind of interested in where she would hide one. But anyway,
yeah, like she's kind of
let's keep this PG.
she's all like, I'm very grateful to you, Captain. There's some looks here from Phlox where he's like, are you gonna tap, or that? And he's like, listen, we don't believe anyone can own another person. And she's
Not
like,
anymore.
Not
Not
anymore.
anymore.
So he says he's gonna take her back to our planet, but she doesn't really seem to.
Well,
interested
and
in
here's
it.
another point where, like, Archer normally is like a hard ass since like the whole Xindi thing started, right? Like he's a hard ass, but yet he's like stopping and taking time. He's like, she's only 2 days away. We can take her there, I guess. It's like,
Take her
okay.
to orangutan.
Would you take somebody 2 days out of your way? Well, maybe.
Not if I was on a mission.
Yeah.
She'd have to wait.
Save all your people.
And here's the scene where Trip is paying, I guess, for
I love this.
the Trillium D to the chemist with spices.
Well, he's only getting the ability to replicate it. Like he's not actually
On our
getting-
planet, wars were fought over these.
which is
he's
not
like-
wrong.
He's putting the sniffer here into like the top nostril, like you mentioned, Jody.
Yeah.
Black pepper. He was very impressed.
Well, and then
It's a good one.
Tucker's like, I really like cayenne.
Had some
pot-
today.
Yeah, it gives him turmeric and I don't know, oregano and different things.
Probably
And
like coriander.
yeah, so he's quite pleased. with this whole transaction. He gives him the Trillium D and says, "Oh, it's very unstable in its liquid state, so be careful." It's like a real witch's brew. And we see a little bit of that later in the episode.
But we learn what happens when you don't use Trillium D.
Yeah, well, Crewman Cutler's arm was broken by one of those anomalies we heard earlier.
Yes, and that's the last mention of her in this entire series because unfortunately the actress died about a month after this aired.
Right.
So she was actually supposed to come back for some other episodes and she didn't because obviously.
Yeah. But she got mentioned here.
She didn't get a mention.
I feel like she was on the show more than Mayweather.
You guys,
he probably has way more lines than her.
Are you guys disappointed that we didn't get to stick around to see him snuff the cayenne?
I really wanted to see him snuff the cayenne. Yeah,
that would have been fun.
Trip even sets him up for that. He's like, cayenne's my favorite. Trust me. Like,
yeah. They definitely should have shown us like the reaction that he had, like, or even it might have like created an incident with his people. They're like, the humans tried to kill me with this spice that kills me. You know, that kind of thing or something. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But we have a fish to fry.
Back to Enterprise. I also
everybody has to eat with Archer.
Everyone, I think that Mayweather's had fewer dinners though with Archer than Regine.
Probably
he is.
He's had one, right?
Yeah, maybe. I think it was only a lunch or a breakfast.
Yeah, I think it was a breakfast. Yeah, I think it was a breakfast.
You know, dinner is a big deal. I thought it was interesting.
What the hell is she eating?
It's some kind of big like Parmesan flat something, maybe. I don't know what the heck it is, but it's an interesting meal.
It's a rice cake.
Oh, it's a rice cake.
That can't be. It looks like a hash brown on its side.
Looks like a big piece of cheese. To me,
maybe it's fried chicken.
Calzone.
Maybe Peter liked it. He liked his.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going back and forth and talking.
Imagine being the cook on this ship, though. What we have to make something special for Archer, and we have to make 2 portions because he's going to have some dinner with somebody.
Archer's been in a mood, chef. Do you think you can give him something to cheer him up? And he just tries every day, and nothing works.
Nothing works. Yeah.
I can't smile until I'm done my mission.
He just puts vinegar in everything.
Not until I find these Xindi.
Find these Xindi.
Exactly.
Xindi.
Yeah. So he gets a call here to go to engineering, where Trip and T'Pol explain to him that the Trillium D is very unstable, and we could blow up half our ship if we're not careful. And Archer's just like, "Is this what you interrupted my dinner to tell me?" You know,
like, you know, I was having dinner
with Regine.
With Regine.
You know, and they said that they're gonna do it down on EDAC, and Archer's like, "Fine, whatever." Leave me
alone. Like, why are you bugging me with?
You could have sent me an email about this.
Aren't you like the chief engineer and like the
science officer,
like second in command? Like, fuck off! Like, why are you bugging me with this?
Yeah. Anyway, and then,
like that's what he should have said. He's like, literally, like, I'm the least qualified person to make a decision for you on this. Like, just go do it.
Yeah, it felt a little. I don't know. And then the next scene we have here,
it's a taco platter, according to Worldmine.
Archer in his quarters, looking at porn, maybe we're not sure. And
it's probably water polo.
He gets a midnight call here from Regine, who wants to thank him, and he kind of invites her in after some awkwardness.
Well, and he's like, "I'm not really dressed," and he's like, "Okay, come in."
Yeah, she looks at his crotch.
There was no fighting at all. Like there.
Yeah, it's not much, and then he's
like, "Do you like water polo? Do you want to see my? You want to see my ball?
Want to see my volley?
Want to see my ball?
Best sport in the world."
Are you a Stanford fan?
I wear this when Trip comes over to watch things too.
Yeah, and so she like starts seducing him, and of course he can't resist her powers. She's not even an Orion, but she almost has that same sway.
We see Orions in this series though.
Later though, right?
Yeah, it's way later. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we see like the first time we were like, okay,
I like this. I thought this was cool.
She's up to something, or we finally get the confirmation that she's nefarious in some way because she's doing her scans here on Archer, feeling him up, looking at his spine.
I like that you can see like his spine and like all of his blood vessels and shit. Though I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's a cool effect. And then they're kind of going, and then all of a sudden it's like it ends, and Archer perceives it as a daydream. It's like she kind of got what she wanted.
But I think that's the whole point, right? Like that's kind of what she trips to make him think that that's what's going on.
Right.
pushes her away and goes, space herpes.
Space herpes. I heard you had space herpes.
Yeah, I'm not touching you. You got space herpes.
I can smell that cream on you.
What's that smell? That's what she said when she
Think
walked
I've
in.
never smelled space herpes cream before in my line of work.
God, man.
It would have been great if at the end when she comes out at the Xindi Council of Doom.
Yeah, she's like, it's
if she comes out, she's not just one. She is one of those species from last week.
no.
She got it from
She's actually an insectoid.
She can't tell them anything.
That would be good.
She would turn into like that weird species.
Yeah.
The extinction people.
Extinction people
Yeah,
eating like maggots out of a plastic egg. But yeah. And so the next scene is all about T'Pol and Trip trying to synthesize the Trillium D. It doesn't work out. They're trying to do calculations, more Thoron radiation, less Delta radiation. You know, it doesn't quite. It kind of blows up in their face, literally speaking. Oh, almost. Yeah, they get out of there just in time. But I guess this is to set it up that it's not going to be that easy just to get a formula. It's going to take some work here. And I don't really remember how this progresses, this storyline, but it feels like this is something they don't want to solve in just this episode. So they keep kind of going. They're working, and then they get out, and then it blows up. And they're like, well, maybe we should get some rest before we try to do this again. You know? And he's like, all right. And she's like, come by my quarters and I'll give you some neuro. Yeah. He's like, I'm not in the mood for your neurotherapy. And she's like, I'm not trying to make this stuff with you if you're tired. So I need you alert.
Very white playing in the background. Like
she's pursuing him now.
Let's get it on.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Why don't you come by my quarters? It's only logical, you know? So
she
But if you
initiated
have
this
them
whole
space
thing
herpes,
between them.
you stay back in your quarters.
well, technically it was Phlox who started it.
Yeah, that's true. Bit of a matchmaker, that flaw.
Bit of a matchmaker, perhaps. Yeah. And I think he knew that Trip needed a friend, and it wasn't going to be Reed. So, you know, or even Archer. So it ends up being T'Pol. Anyway, so then next scene we have Regine here. She's looking at the transporter. She runs into Hoshi. This is basically the Armis Reynolds episode from Firefly.
Yeah, but it's not as good as our Mrs. Reynolds. That's a great episode.
What did you like? Anything with the scene here with Hoshi, guys?
I like everything with Hoshi. Hoshi's still
Not the awkward handshake.
I think what was more awkward was when they got really close to each other. That was
when they were
awkward.
Like I was like, are they like into each other? Or like I was kind of, you know.
Well, and at this point, I'm like, wait a second. Hoshi might be bi. I don't know.
Well, I got that impression where she's like, I speak several languages or whatever, and
she's like, you can talk to me all night.
Yeah, but it doesn't really happen until she touches it. So we get the sense that physical contact with Regine is going to have like this hypnotic, seductive effect. Mm-hmm. So she takes off Hoshi, presumably to get some anatomical scans of her too, and whatever. Because if I recall, don't the Xindi eventually do develop this bioweapon that's going to kill people based on blood type or something?
Yes.
And so she needs to scan many people, not just maybe one.
Yeah, she needs to get a good sample size.
And then she shows up in T'Pol's quarters as she's preparing for Trip to arrive,
which is very rapey. This scene, like, yes, it's got that really bad rapey vibe to it.
Yeah, it does. In the way that the scene with Archer and with Hoshi did not. You know, where T'Pol is not necessarily.
T'Pol's a survivor, man.
Yeah,
she's like the door was unlocked. T'Pol's just like, that's very unlikely.
That's very unlikely.
That sounds like a lie.
Yeah. But if that's the case, how the hell did she get in?
I don't know.
Like, she hasn't showed any proficiency in like getting.
She seduced somebody into giving her the code. Maybe. I don't know.
Or maybe Hoshi got Hoshi to like touch the pad or something.
Yeah, maybe Hoshi somehow she manipulated Hoshi into getting in here, but there's kind of a leap here because I guess they just didn't have time to try to connect those dots.
How would Hoshi, why would Hoshi be able to get into T'Pol's quarters?
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, like
Trip can override though.
Hoshi's an ensign, right?
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Computer, I am
doesn't make any
Regine.
sense.
maybe
me
Regine is
in.
great at hacking doors. I don't know, but
Or maybe she has the ability to like change physiology to like her fingerprint or something.
maybe if
I don't know.
we were the writers, we would have figured out a way. But it was
If we were the writers, this episode probably wouldn't exist.
They didn't think that was important, so they skip over that part. And we see that she's
I
doing.
like to call that the Brandon Braga effect.
Yeah, she's
Certain things aren't important.
like,
Yeah, at
T'Pol's
this
like,
point, I'm like, whoa, this is getting interesting.
T'Pol's like stop, and you know, but T'Pol can't seem to break away from this this spell.
It's pretty cold in there.
Yeah. And she's, you know, we
Such
see
a
her,
child.
her green blood and stuff
Yeah, that was
underneath.
cool.
Yeah, and some of the Vulcan physiology. But you know, Trip's showing up, and he can't hear any of this struggle inside the door. I didn't know these doors were so soundproof. But there's like a fight here between T'Pol and Regine that he's completely oblivious to. You know, and
Well, I'm not totally sure it happens at the same time because when he walks in, she's gone.
No,
So,
she's not.
and there's-
No, she's not.
With,
She's just
Was she
hiding.
still in there?
yeah.
she hits
Oh,
him
okay. I
with
must have missed that.
Yeah, so he eventually calls up to the bridge. He goes, "Where's T'Pol?" They're like, "She's in the quarters." He doesn't understand why she's not coming to the door, so he opens it with a. We see it's a
I don't remember
thumbprint.
her hiding. Okay.
Yeah, so he comes in and he finds her on the ground,
Okay.
and then he checks her pulse, and then this is where she comes out of the
Oh,
closet,
yes.
and she hits him with like a pot or something.
I
in
didn't
the
put two
head.
and two together there. Yeah, that's me.
And then she runs out, but she didn't really need
Like,
to hit him.
hell.
She could have just run out of the room.
World
I
Man
guess he-
says she's a space worker. I'm sure she's gotten through a few locks.
Oh yeah.
True.
Ladies
Yes.
of the Eternal Night.
Yeah,
Yes,
T'Pol's
indeed,
not
indeed.
doing well. We see Regine is trying to get through the ship. She's calling up to the Xindi, saying, "Gotta get out of here." And then she finds this security guard in
Who has more lines than Mayweather?
who has more lines than Mayweather in this episode, and almost more than Hoshi.
God, that must
Uh,
grind his gears, eh?
Grind's mine. I'm like, he's supposed to be a main
Yeah,
cast
Mayweather.
member, and I'm like, and this security guard, who she's never, you know, we've never seen.
I think Porthos has more lines than Mayweather does.
Unless they have a Mayweather episode, which we're never excited for. So
No, they're always shitty.
so, I
Maybe
don't
that's
know.
why they finally
Mayweather
figured
never
it out.
gets any cheese.
Yeah.
No cheese for you. Anyway, so she gets around the security guard, and then she runs into Reed here, I think. Yeah, Reed.
Yeah.
They have some firefights.
Do you know it's
Reed-
Reed?
Alright.
Because he's not firing back and he's ducking. You think
These
that's Reed.
these firefights, the Makos looked really fucking cool coming out,
Mhm.
but I can't with these onesies and them trying to fight. Like now that I see the Makos come out and their get up, and these
Yeah, you're
guys
like,
running
these
around
guys
in
are
the-
losers.
basically in their pajamas. I'm
Yeah.
like, this looks retarded. Like I don't.
Like,
like
what are you gonna
this.
go do? Change a muffler? Like, what? Like-
This is the thing with the Enterprise uniform I don't like either. It looks kind of silly. For
I
security
understand the
guards.
reason why, but in practicality, it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
It
And
only
you're-
looked silly to me when they were running around the ship and fighting. Like
Yeah.
it's fine otherwise.
yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem too suitable for that type of environment. For that, yeah.
We also see Regine is like a very skilled fighter with the phaser here. She knocks out this guy in engineering.
Hey, she gets around. We already heard.
and then
that.
she does like a twist, like as she's
yeah.
falling here from like pretty far down this from this catwalk, and right onto her back, which looked like that would hurt. And she gets right off
Just
and
gets right up. She didn't care.
yeah, and she's the phaser fight continues here. Again, they have the Makos, but we're not seeing them in action yet.
They're sleeping.
They're sleeping. They're busy, I guess.
They come
And anyway,
out
she gets all.
eventually.
They a couple of them came out.
Yeah.
They eventually. But
I
not
blame
as
it
much.
on Reed. When there isn't enough Makos, it's probably Reed's fault.
Yeah, he probably told them to hit the gym. Anyway, they eventually it's
We don't
the
need you.
security.
We have
it's
our own
it's Archer and the security team that eventually apprehend Regine, and he tells her to take him away, or them to take her away. But what they really should have said is like, "Don't let her touch you."
Yeah,
But-
that could be a problem.
but these I don't have a great shot of it, but the security guards definitely do touch her.
I'll be back in a second, guys.
Okay, and then in the next scene, there's the sick bay where Archer is now, dealing with this betrayal of Regine after he was trying to be kinder. T'Pol is unconscious and needs to be.
How could you do this to me, Regine?
How could you
After all
do
we've
this?
been through.
Yeah, he sees like T'Pol's in rough shape after this. This was quite the assault, and then he kind of looks over at Trip, and Trip's got a bloody head from that pot. He's not too happy about that either, and so he then heads to the brig to talk to her. This scene was way too long for me.
It was, but I do like that. I do like when she says, "Oh, if I tell you, they'll kill me," and Archer says, "How do you know I won't?" Like, this is the new Archer that I like.
Yeah, Archer's like, "Who are you trying to call?" This is what I call the Jack Bauer Archer, where he's
Ever
just
since
like,
he put that guy in the airlock and threatened to space him.
Yeah. Archer is willing to break his own moral code if it means the success of the mission, because he feels that sometimes the ends do justify the means.
He's very Cisco. That's why I like him.
Yes. And Janeway at times had glimmers of this.
Janeway for sure.
But Picard never. I saw it, or even Kirk, not really. And so he's talking to her, and he grabs her at one point, and he's not too impressed, with her and all of this. We get the water there. Hey, there's 2 ships coming. And he's like, well, get the shield up. And what struck me as odd is he keeps talking to her here. He doesn't head to the bridge. He doesn't try to deal with the 2 other ships coming. He's more fixated on this conversation with her, which that's part of the reason I felt like, Jiffy lube class. With a Midas touch. Yeah, and then like you were saying earlier, we got to see. I don't think we've seen these Xindi reptilian ships yet, have we? But they're neat.
Which is another thing I like about that.
You got one too,
You
Devin?
have one?
Yeah, I get the Xindi reptilian.
Kind of looks like their uniforms.
I like the fact that all the different races of Xindi have different ships too.
Yeah, that's neat.
Which seems
they're an
kind of
intimidating looking
also
ship. That looks like a ship that you raise your shields right away. It looks like
It's a threatening looking ship.
It looks like a grasshopper to me.
Yeah, a little bit like
some of the insectoid ships. Like they look like they're going to attack you too.
Yeah, they're all.
I really like the aquatics ships. Like
the aquatic ships are neat. Yeah,
they're really big.
One of them too.
Yeah, I like that.
That's
very streamlined.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not so threatened by that one.
I just like this idea of these aquatic like whale guys like running around swimming around their inside of their ship and pushing buttons and trying to do Star Trek stuff. I think that would be interesting.
An aquatic species in space is pretty awesome.
Yeah. Here we get to see
the Enterprise had dolphins.
Mayweather gets his 2 lines, or like he's like, "Hey, we're getting knocked out of warp," and they're like evasive maneuvers, and he manages to get boarded here. Mayweather, he does very poorly in the helm against these 2 Xindi reptilians, and I don't understand. I know that the Xindi reptilians want her, but after they get her, they could just blow up their ship. Like that's kind of where I don't really get it.
Yeah.
And anyway, so this conversation keeps going, and then as he's about to leave, she's like, "No, now I'll tell you stuff." I was like, "Why did we wasted 6 minutes?"
Well, because she's delaying.
Because this episode sucks. That's why.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
It's not the worst China doll or whatever we want to call it episode, but it's
I think it's definitely better than the one with Femke Jensen in it.
Yes,
it's
next
better
gen.
than that.
And it's better than last week's episode.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
There's
but
some Makos right there, Kevin.
Mako's coming through. And
better late than never.
Yeah, they were coming out, and I'm like, yeah, shit's gonna go down now.
Right, and then we see, we
get a lot of them later on in the season, though. Like, there's a lot of fighting with the Makos.
Yeah.
And then these Xindi reptilians, their uniforms look so silly to me.
They're stupid.
All the weird bars.
They got like all the slinkies on them.
Got these weird little
shoulders,
things, and it when they're fighting with against Makos, it's such a weird looking firefight. But it is what it is. They're going back and
Makos
forth.
are the only ones dressed for a fight in this whole episode.
Yeah,
I want
these
an
guys,
entire Star Trek series with just Makos.
these guys look like
Or,
they're going to
kicking
Cirque
shit
du
around.
Soleil or something, or it's very ornate, I would say,
Yeah.
and shiny. And they're coming through. I love the makeup, but yeah, like
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing. They're coming in. Reed's trying to fight them here with the Makos.
Oh, is that what he's doing?
Yeah,
All
they
right.
make pretty short work of the Makos and the Enterprise.
Oh yeah, this is and then they see like this big friggin' insectoid Xindi, and they're just like, "What the hell?"
What the fuck is that thing?
That was awesome.
I
They're
love
just, like,
that though.
couldn't believe what they're seeing. And this Mako, he gets hit with the insectoid's weapon here. I think he dies. I think like.
Has the goo gun happened yet though? Did I miss?
No,
that
it hasn't
while
happened
we
yet. But
went?
here
All
you
right.
just
I
like,
love
just
the
look
goo
on.
gun.
Just look on Reed's face after the insectoid has moved on. He's just like, "Oh my," it says it all. And then he
He's
checks.
like,
the
I'm gonna
Mako.
need a bigger can of Raid.
And it seems like the Mako has died.
They're Makos.
He didn't have a name. And then the reptilians continue to go after the brig here. We see these security guards trying to fight them with phasers, and I guess the phase pistol against that Xindi reptilian armor
Useless.
Totally
useless. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
What's
bounced
happening
off
at
them.
the
They're just like,
Slinkies
whatever.
now?
Exactly.
What's that?
The Slinkies are.
Because who's laughing at the Slinkies now?
Yeah, exactly.
They absorb phaser fire.
Love that
Exactly.
phase gun though.
Oh, yeah.
Phase pistols
great.
rule in this show.
These pistols, but
Yeah.
they're not against that Xindi armor. Anyway,
No,
he
they don't
fires
work at all.
this blob thing.
I
as we
love
mentioned.
this thing. This
And
thing's amazing.
It goes to the
Everybody's
hits the
just
wall.
like, why did they just shoot like mucus at us?
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's
then we
horse
see-
shit. What are they
And
doing?
then like all these things start
All
popping
these little
out.
spines come out and kill everyone. Oh, it's amazing. I love it.
It's
Yeah.
a brutal weapon.
Yeah,
Well, that's
this
what they
was-
get for just standing there and staring at it.
Yeah, they're standing there. They're like,
Sure.
why did he just like snot at us?
I don't think the Makos would have done that.
No, the Makos are like, holy shit, they just shot something at us.
Yeah, they'd be like, duck, 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 hit the
Yeah,
floor.
we don't know what it is yet. Duck.
At least get on the floor.
That's
because-
the difference between the Makos and anybody that has been trained by Reed.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
and they break Regine out here with like a little explosive, and he has to kick in the door and all this kind of stuff.
I love
and
the
then-
brig on this ship, though. I love
It's a
that
nice
thing.
looking brig.
It's
It's
a
like,
great looking ship.
I'm not
Everything
totally
about
sure
it
why
feels
you'd
real.
use. I'm not totally sure why you'd use glass, but
tempered glass.
yeah, tempered glass seems like a bad idea.
Mako, more firefights, archers firing.
He clearly didn't get the memo where we already found out that those phase pistols do fuck all.
Yeah,
So-
and then this is the guy who jumps Archer here, and he wrestles with the Xindi reptilian. I guess this is the one who will get left behind ultimately.
Yeah, it gets killed.
Because Archer's like, no, not Regine. She was about to tell me something about the Xindi.
She's my girlfriend.
She's my girlfriend, baby. And
At least in my dreams.
this Mako pops out and he hits the Xindi with like this electrical stick thing.
Yeah, he's got
I
like
guess.
cattle prods or something. I love
something
it.
going on here.
Good old Makos. They're like, we'll use fucking anything. We don't care.
Yeah, and he calls up to Mayweather. Hey, Mayweather, make sure you follow those ships who just left. And he's like, no problem, Captain.
And
then
immediately loses them.
immediately loses them as they go into like some kind of cloak.
God, he's useless.
Yeah, he had everything Archer asks him to do in this episode, he fails at.
That's why he only has like 3
Sorry,
lines.
Captain.
Yeah,
You had 3 lines and you failed all of them.
right. And we find out that the Xindi reptilian is already dead at this point too.
Yes.
And we find out that's a suicide. He was able to like kill. He had a built-in like suicide device or something. Archer's like, I can't believe you lost them.
I love the look of the Mako. Go back though. Go back. Look at the Mako. The Mako's just like, I can't fucking believe Archer's here. Like, how useless is he? I had this shit under control.
He's like, well, he's better than Reed.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's like,
the
well, at least
only
he's not
one-
Reed.
Who completes this mission? The human
Yeah.
race owes everything to Archer.
Archer and maybe the Makos. We see here this is the suicide device that the Xindi had. We see the dead Xindi, and Archer orders a full autopsy.
So they're like the space KGB then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Basically. Yeah.
And Trip gets assigned with analyzing this Xindi weapon that got left behind.
I like how Archer does it though. He's just like, analyze this weapon and figure out how it works.
And he's like, hey, T'Pol, are you feeling better? She's like, not really. It was really traumatic and everything that happened to me. He's like, okay, I need you to like
that's sorry, but
I
get
need
your
you to
ass up
help
there.
get to work and do some science stuff
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
Trip.
you're a science officer. Go do some shit.
He doesn't suggest taking a few days off to her. He's like, get to work, and then he moves on.
He's got shit to do.
He's got
You know
shit
what?
to do. We got shit to do.
You don't have time to be rubbing down Trip every 10 minutes, okay? Like, let's go do some stuff here.
Yeah. I don't really know what he says to Phlox here, but
Phlox has got like this, like, yeah, look at that attitude on Phlox. He's just like, I'm fucking gangsta.
he was.
Fox is the best.
Well, how many humans died in that assault? At least 4 or 5, right?
A couple, yeah.
So there's quite a few bodies in the morgue now, including the
Yeah,
Xindi
Phlox
one.
is like, great. There's one thing I love to do, and that's paperwork.
Yeah, autopsies
Jerk.
and death certificates.
Yeah, but he's got food.
They do
for
rack
his
up a
beetles
bit of
and
a body count by the end of this.
What's that, Kevin?
He's got
Yeah.
food for his beetles and shit now.
That's true.
shit.
Feed them for a
Even
year.
reptilian.
Would that be ethical under the denobling medical ethics?
Yeah, I think ethics are out the window at this point.
And then back to
Depends
the
on their
Council of
cultural
Doom.
death rights of the Xindi reptilians.
Could be.
True.
Council meeting. This character here, we're gonna come to know him as Degra, but we don't actually.
Yeah,
know
we
this
don't
is
know him
Degra.
yet, but he is Degra. Yeah.
Big character.
Yeah, big character. Pay note to him. The Xindi reptilian guy.
This guy's around for a while.
I never know. I can't tell the Xindi reptilians apart. I'm sorry.
That's the
That
whole
is-
point. You're not
yeah.
supposed to be able to. They're all just the same guy, basically.
Basically.
Hey, look,
And
it's Negan. That's Negan.
is it
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Yep.
This is Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
It is.
Yeah.
Seriously?
It is.
That's why he said
Wow.
he'd never work for Star Trek again. He didn't like the makeup.
He didn't like the
process.
makeup.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then yeah, they bring her in. She's changed into this leotard thing.
I'm not
and,
complaining.
Yeah, they're like, tell us the stuff or show us. Anyway, so she's able to use
Well,
her powers.
she seems almost like she doesn't want to for a second there. That
Well, it
she
seems
does
like
anyway.
she's come to like the humans. She liked that Archer saved her, and she calls Archer admirable and all these things. So she's kind of like regretting her part in this. But anyway, they're able to show that they have the physiology of
I remember
the,
if we see her again. I don't think we do.
yeah, I don't need to see her again.
No,
but
I don't either.
But they were. I felt like they were trying to maybe set her up as a recurring character potentially. And we see that they're working on the bio weapon.
Yeah, check that.
Degra's, I guess he's building like the planet killer thing, and this but the Xindi reptilians are like, well, what if that doesn't work? Then we need a backup, and this will be our biological weapon. And the aquatics say this too. We have to proceed on both fronts and develop both weapons. And yeah, and then they go, should we reward this insubordination? Anyway, they take her away. She's like, "No, the humans are good. You should listen." And then they're like, "Get her out of here." Yeah, he's like, "I won't hear any more of this." Pull her out, and they take her out, and that's the end of the episode. So, in terms of the plot,
I'm just
Davan.
checking to see if we see her more than once. We do not. All right.
can you give us some details unearthed?
By Davan.
Well, there's a new segment actually we're gonna do here.
Regeneration cycle complete.
We're gonna do digital information assimilated by Davan of 9. That's what we're doing.
I like it.
All right. So we do have some. Jody took the best one about Ensign
I'm
Cutler,
sorry.
or crewman Cutler. And that's all right. But yeah, sad the actress died not long after this.
I like
So
Cutler.
they don't even mention the character again after this. Just it's like, yeah, she was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to take that one from you.
Don't worry, man. It's okay. It's all right. So those Xindi reptilian uniforms that you love so much, Dave.
Mm-hmm. I don't hate them. I
they're
just don't think they look good in that firefight. That's all.
They are reused Riemann uniforms from Nemesis.
I should.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And they probably when you walk in them, they're like super squeaky, and they probably had to take all of that audio.
Yeah.
Because apparently, what's his name, Shinzon, Tom Hardy in Nemesis, had to redub all his lines because his costume
kept making noise. Yeah.
What? Well, they removed the Riemann breastplates and put those wire bars on to emulate a cage.
So it's like a lizard in a cage.
Among the items sold by hawkers at the floating market were dried cuttlefish and ostrich eggs.
Okay.
Seems like a little
can
far
be
to
seen
go
at
for
the alien market. That's the first canon benzite.
Yeah, I heard. I didn't see the benzite, or I at least didn't get a benzite in the screenshots, but I heard there was a benzite present.
Scott McDonald is in this episode. He plays the other Xindi reptilian, Commander Dahlem, who is, of course, known for a lot of Star Trek roles, including Tosk and Garanagar and Sub Commander Navek and Ensign
Navek,
Rollins. Okay. He's been a lot of characters in Star Trek.
And his character in this is called what?
He's Commander Dahlem, the Xindi reptilian. Yeah, I think he's the one who dies. This is the last detail I have of any interest, really. This episode is named for the character Regine, who mentions that she is from a planet called Orang Taku. In Indonesian and Malay language, Regine means diligent or industrious, and Orang Takut means people are afraid or scared people. This appears to have been some intentional or coincidental ties with the scene where Trip pays brat with black pepper and other earth spices and talks about how wars were fought over them. And Indonesia and Malay were very dominant in the maritime spice trading routes of the 15th and 16th century. That's pretty much all the details I just
discovered one, a detail discovered by Dave, if you will.
All right.
Did you guys see this guy? He's not Degra, but the other Xindi primate who's present.
Tucker Smallwood.
This is Tucker Smallwood, who you might remember from a Star Trek Voyager episode where he played this admiral guy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's back. I was like, I knew his face from something.
Except that's not a real admiral. That's a species 847 too.
What? Yeah, you're right. But he was.
Don't ruin it.
Yeah, he was in theory
Spoilers.
impersonating a real human, maybe, but possibly not. Okay, all right. So that's the spoiler alert. All right, okay, guys, let's bring in our ratings for this episode. Jody, you want to start us off?
This is a hard one for me. You know what? I'm going to think about it. Go to somebody else.
Adam's not here, or is he?
Adam gives this a 5.
He said 5. Better highlight that.
You better highlight that one because we'll probably need to correct that one later.
I'm gonna go 7.
Oh my God, Dave! You've seen other Star Trek, right?
Maybe 6.5.
All right, that's better.
Kevin?
6.
6. Gavin? 5?
Yeah, 5.
And now
back to me. I'm gonna do 6.5. I'm gonna go with Dave on this one. I think it deserves that.
I think it's okay. But
it's better than last week's.
It's true. I give that a 2.
By the way, I did watch the replay from last week, and I have to agree with you, Dave. That guy has not written any good episodes.
Yeah, the guy who wrote last week's, his name's Andre.
Andre Bormanis.
Yeah,
we couldn't find a good one he's written.
No, garbage.
So
garbage episodes,
or at best mediocre.
Which I think last week's episode, LeVar Burton was the director, wasn't he?
He was the director, and he told the producers he was ashamed of it. He was ashamed to have directed.
I can't blame him. It was a terrible episode. I didn't feel bad to miss it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, David, you need a psychologist.
Why?
Well, you might need a spelling helper, though.
You may need a
colleague.
Tutors, Dave. Tutors.
Yeah.
A 0.2, apparently.
A 0.2 from
So
10.
I just want to take a quick second to recognize something that happened. Unfortunately, Anne Wershing died. In my opinion, the best Borg queen there was.
She's an amazing queen.
She was also on Star Trek Enterprise.
She was on Enterprise. Yep, she was.
Runaways.
But, unfortunately, we lost her very early. I think she was only 45. my age.
Yeah.
So
cancer.
I know she was fighting cancer for a couple of years. So that's
Damn,
interesting.
Jody, you don't look a day over 46.
I'm almost 46, actually. I only got another, 20
Couple
days
weeks.
or so? 20,
Yeah.
25 days? Something like that. Yeah, 26 days, actually, I think. But
Faces
anyway,
power.
I just wanted to quickly mention that because that's
That's sad, man.
which really sucks because if we're gonna ever see any more Borg queens, it's not gonna be her, unfortunately.
It's going to be Girardi now.
Girardi.
If we see
it's
another one.
Jody, right.
Yeah.
Like, she kind of passed that mantle onto her anyway in that season.
Well, she did anyway, but yeah, I was hoping to see more Borg Queen with her.
Yeah, I know she was excellent. She
was
was the
good.
best part of
Good.
season 2. I thought was her performance.
She was the only great
Oh,
part
dude.
of season 2. Yeah, I agree.
That and the Q stuff.
and the Q stuff. Yeah.
Well,
But-
if there was more of it, it might.
But
have
how
been
the
more
I still contend I don't like how Q was used in that season.
very
Or-
useless. Yeah,
but
very
I,
useless.
But I like John Delancey's performance.
I love John
A
Delancey.
lot.
He's great.
So he's
But
always
anyway.
good.
Next week's episode. That's
Yeah.
what you're gonna ask me next, right?
I was getting there. Yeah,
You're
What-
getting there.
what's next?
All right. It's called Impulse. It's
Okay.
not exciting. After finding a drifting hull of a Vulcan cruiser inside an
Vulcan
asteroid
zombie.
field,
Vulcan
Captain
zombie
Archer
episode.
and his crew are surprised to find Vulcans alive, in quotes, by the way, alive, on it. When they are stranded there, they must find out what happened to the crew before T'Pol succumbs to the same fate. This is one of those. The ship has been infected with something, and then somebody gets it on the Enterprise.
I thought like the Vulcans didn't go into the Expanse because it turned them all into weird. Like,
No, Leia did, remember? And it was never heard from again. Well, they find the Saleya.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This is the Saleya. Yeah. That's
But
fine.
that was the ship where we got the videos where they're like peeling their faces
Yes.
off or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a zombie episode.
It's basically
not
a
my
zombie
favorite,
episode.
but it's better.
You know
than
what?
this.
It's not terrible though. It's not a terrible episode.
No, it's not terrible.
But
Okay, I haven't watched it before. So.
anyway, Dave, you know what's not terrible? Everything we have on the United Federation of
it's so not terrible. It's even worth checking out.
It's almost worth checking
Yeah.
out.
It's
And I'm going to be on one
fantastic.
of these shows that you're going to be talking about shortly.
Yes. Well, okay. First and foremost, within the Live Long and podcast, we have all kinds of review shows which we personify through our command division. So like this one, Star Trek Enterprise. We've also been doing Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We do that on Tuesdays. Tomorrow's episode will be Change of Heart.
Which
From
one's
season
that?
6. It's where Jedzia and Worf go on the side mission to get this Cardassian
I know which one. Ugh.
defector. It's so that will be tomorrow
I
night.
hate that episode.
Fun now.
Eh.
And then but we've been doing things like Star Trek movies and we did the original series as well. And you should check out our ongoing reactions and reviews of the newer episodes, including coming up Star Trek Picard will be having its 3rd season starting on February 16th.
I'm looking forward to it. Did you guys see the
I'm
trailer
hyped.
from yesterday?
Yeah, well,
We
Gavin
did
and
a
I
review?
did a trailer reaction today.
Oh, did you? I
actually.
didn't see that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have questions. I have lots of questions.
There's hype. Get on the hype
Hype.
train. Toot toot.
Oh, I'm on the hype train.
Yeah. So we're gonna be
Okay.
talking a lot
But I
of this
was
crew
for
here.
season 2 as well. So
Yeah, I was hyped on season 2, especially in the beginning, but in retrospect, I was not happy with it. But I'm optimistic. I want season 3 to be good.
Toot.
Toot, toot.
well, now
Yeah.
they're talking about how season
Yeah.
3 might not be the end, all right? So
Well,
see.
if this,
I'm
I
fine
think
with
if
that
this is
too.
well received enough, then we'll see.
Yeah.
How it comes. Yeah, coming soon. And then I think those are all the Live Long and podcast in the command division. But of course, in our
we got
science,
we got we got a Treckle Trunk. Well, that's in the Locutors division. Switch.
There we
Yeah. Well, we got a Treckle Trunk coming up on Wednesday. I'm restarting the Star Trek Hero Click story series with a season 1. And that'll be Mr. Scott and I will face off. It'll be Picard's crew versus Kirk's crew due to the interventions of Q.
in Treckle Trunk, you'll be like playing with toys.
Yeah, we play with toys on
Oh,
Treckle
nice.
Trunk.
Very cool. And in the
I don't know
science
if that's
division,
how I would describe it, but
we
all
do
right.
trivia and debates and different things, and our operation divisions where we have like our more theatrical things like playing video games or Star Trek Radio Theater and things.
Yeah, I noticed that you've been playing
Oh, and we-
Star Trek Online.
And we fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been doing that
No one
too.
invited me. I'm just saying.
I've been teaching Davan. Like,
Are you on there?
Oh yeah, I have a character and all that.
You should join our fleet.
Maybe.
You should. Elite Force something or other.
Elite Force 2,
Um,
Elite Assault Force 2.
Yeah. But we also recently finally put out a Locutors audio episode, so go check that out.
Oh yes,
They're few and far between, but don't miss them.
Don't miss them.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we're also part of the United Federation of Podcasts. Make sure to check out our website, ufpodcast.com. We have shows like Trivial Debates, which we just did yesterday, with Jaemeel hosting, and I was competing.
Yeah, I have a lot of problems with that episode, by the way.
Do you want to give us one?
You shouldn't have won. That would be
Spoilers.
I mean, sorry, spoilers, but yeah.
I think I earned it my win.
I don't know if earned was what I would say, but anyway.
But speaking of the other
Jaemeel
podcasts,
also thinks that Josh's name is Jeff, but past that.
All right. We also got Hold Up, which you were alluding to, a movie podcast every second Wednesday. With
Yes, I'm
Murphy
very
and
excited
Davan.
for this.
2 movies from the 20th century, one from the 21st, trying to figure out which movies hold up better, with a theme. I think you're going in the spy.
Yeah, we're doing spies. We're going to
Yes.
review North by Northwest.
I like
Ronin,
my
which is
pick.
Jody's pick.
What's your
I
pick?
haven't seen it, so I'm looking forward to it. Ronin.
Ronin.
Ronin. Oh yeah, I saw it a long time ago.
Very good movie.
And I believe Atomic Blonde is the other one. I've never seen that either.
I did not like that movie, but
I've
my
never
brother
seen any of these
loved
3
it.
movies.
So,
For a spy movie, I
So-
think it's pretty good. It's got a lot of action. She gets her ass
it's
handed to her. most of the
very
movie.
action. heavy,
Yeah,
so-
like
so.
there's a scene with her in like a bathtub full of ice.
James
after a
McAvoy
fight.
is in it.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
in it. Yeah,
He's interesting in it too. So,
and North by Northwest is obviously it's a classic. So
check
Like
out
I
Hold
say, I'm
Up.
looking forward to it.
We got some other great podcasts like Simpsons, BBBL with Davan, Francis, and Baker on Fridays.
make sure you bring your own BB.
Making sure you bring your own B.
Just finished mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to delay last week's, but we'll be back with Homer's Night Out.
Homer's Night Out to come in. And then Super Mario Brothers podcasting.
We are brothers!
We're covering TV shows, things like Survivor, Big Brother, but also Marvel. We have our Marvel division over there, the Mary Mater Marvel Society, where we talk about MCU stuff. Including we'll be doing Ant-Man coming up in February when that movie comes out. We'll be talking about that.
Couple weeks.
The Hellbound podcast.
Do you talk about nothing but like Marvel fatigue?
No, not only.
Okay.
I don't have Marvel fatigue.
And then the Hellbound podcast with Alex Blackburn, Michael Chan, a horror podcast comes out on Wednesdays.
Very cool.
X-rated with Davan and Andre on
Speaking
Tuesdays.
of cool,
Talk about X-Men the animated.
The
series.
coolest show on the air, they say.
Coolest show on the
Some
air.
people say.
Along with
Who's
your
they?
co-host.
Who's
Andre.
they?
The X-Goons.
The X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then Graphics History with Andre that comes out as an audio podcast where he does great interviews from people from the film industry and the comic book industry alike.
Interviewing David Cullen right now. Part 1, David Cullen is up. That's a good
Dave,
one.
can you play the Ellie sound because you did not do one yesterday? I don't know.
In
what that
all of its survivor glory, just singing.
Why would
Thank
you
God I
request that?
just got stupider.
Yeah.
I did it for his birthday, guys.
Yeah, fair
And,
enough.
did I miss anything on the UFP? I don't think so. I think those are all our shows. Check them all out. Check out our
my
website.
show.
It's some great stuff.
By the way, WorldMind gives this a 6.9 for the space workers.
That's too high. You're all crazy. You're all
Think about that
crazy.
one for a second,
Distracted
Gavin.
by the space workers. Yes, I get it.
There you go.
I
Okay.
get it.
I wanted
Gavin,
to make sure you got it. That's the
I've
key.
come to the
got it.
conclusion you always love something or hate something 10% more than me, at least. So it's
You are cousins.
yeah. When you hate something, you really hate
10% more extreme version of Dave.
See, that's what we need. We need a clip of somebody saying, "You are cousins."
it. We are cousins, but it's not Sean Connery.
Yes.
Can we get something from my cousin Vinny?
My
now
cousin
that would
Vinny,
work.
or maybe it'll be like Balky and Larry Appleton doing the dance.
Cousin Laddie.
Cousin Larry, yeah. That could be good, too.
I feel like Kevin hasn't said anything all episode.
Sure, I have.
You okay, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't have much to say during the outro.
Oh, okay.
Check it out.
It seems like I haven't
We
said
need-
anything all
we
episode.
need to have
because the
something for
outro
Kevin
has
for
been
the
like
outro.
25 minutes.
No, it's
We
only
should have like outro with Kevin or something.
I try to go through it quick, guys. I try.
You know.
All right.
I have a lot of shows.
All right, and also check out as we said, the review or the reaction Davan and I did today to the trailer of.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that. I didn't notice it.
Some interesting things. We screenshot some stuff, and that was a lot of fun. All right, well, let's head out of here, guys. We got an audio clip. We will see you next time. Live long and podcast.
I'm Rajiin. I'm Ensign Hoshisato. It's a pleasure to meet you. I was looking for the mess hall. I just happened to be going that way. I'd love to hear your language. Actually, I speak quite a few.